to Werezilla's Retrospective. I'm your host, Werezilla. It's that time of year again. Our 3rd year anniversary is here at last.
If you wanna reach for something higher, something worth fighting for, yeah, there's a moment in your life when your star begins to shine. This will be your time.
Is that getting old? Anyway, Transformers shows from Japan are once again being put under the Werezilla microscope. We've had Headmasters, which was genuinely awful, Master Force, which would have benefited better if it was not a Transformers show at all, until finally Third Time's the Charm, where they finally achieved Victory, a show that actually turned out alright. Now comes the obvious point, the point when Transformers moved on from Generation 1. Generation 2 didn't last, with no new cartoons on either side of the ocean, but did continue with... which, sadly, I won't be able to talk about this year. I know, just please, hear me out. I would be more than happy to talk about Beast Wars 2nd, the show made in Japan in between the release of the first and second seasons of Beast Wars. But with no subtitled version available to me, it and Beast Wars Neo are going to have to be on the fence for now. Instead, we skip ahead to the next incarnation of the series, one with the first legitimate English dub and release.
Fortress Maximus has come himself.
Damn it, not that dub! This one was dubbed by Saban Entertainment, people who actually knew what they were doing. I am, of course, talking about Transformers Robots in Disguise. And unlike the Takara trilogy, this one was actually released in my lifetime. And it's one I actually watched as a kid. And I also remembered absolutely nothing about the series prior to rewatching it for this review. That doesn't bode well for its staying power. But enough about that. Let's check out the theme song. Not bad. Remix of the original with synth sound effects. Saban was doing a lot of those in the early 2000s. No points for having footage of characters that won't appear for 14 episodes, though. Actually, now that I think about it, that probably doesn't work now that we're no longer in Generation 1. Let's see if the show's own transition works better. 1. The series begins with the episode Battle Protocol, where Megatron makes a grand entrance at a science expo in New York, demanding the services of one Dr. Onishi. His son Koji is then contacted by Optimus Prime, letting him know that he'll rescue his father, and brings him to New York. And the reason he needs Koji's help, or even feels the need to reveal the Autobots' existence, is... because Transformers never got the idea that we don't always need an arbitrarily added human character for the kids to relate to. Optimus travels to New York using a space bridge, which frankly works more like the ground bridge from Transformers Prime since it travels across the world rather than across planets. And speaking of plots that later shows would use, Megatron succeeds in capturing Dr. Onishi so he can learn the location of every energy source on Earth. The actual fight is between the Autobots and Predacons. Yes, this series uses them as the main protagonists, is nothing spectacular though. A lot of split-screen dialogue and stock transformations. Still, the Autobots promise to bring Sari her father back. Koji his father back, though unlike her, well, I'll talk about that when we get to it. Now, not much as far as plot will happen for this early point in the series. Almost all of it is new character introductions or standalone episodes. In these early episodes, we meet the Predacons Darkscream, Slapper, and Gas Skunk, as well as Megatron's second-in-command, Skybite, who happens to transform into a giant metal shark that can fly.
Oh, come on, you're giving me too much to work with here.
And that's really all Megatron has as far as followers are concerned, at least until the aforementioned episode 14. The Autobots, on the other hand, start with the Autobot brothers, Prowl, Sideburn, and X-Brawn, Team Bullet Train, Rail Spike, Rapid Run, and Midnight Express, the three of whom are a combiner team that can form the Jessalt's Rail Racer. Hey, wait a minute.
Oh, screw it. I'm just giving them new names.
Rail Spike, Express, Rapid Run, Scatter Blast, Rail Racer, and Bullet Charge.
So I didn't pull those names out of thin air after all. It's almost like I planned this from the start or something. And couple this with 6 more Autobots called the Spy Changers, along with 2 guest star characters, Toadline and Skids. As you can no doubt tell, the huge disadvantage the Predacons have means much of the fights are boring. The fact that Skybite is the only Predacon among the group that seems to have any shred of capability, which isn't saying much, while the others are only here for comic relief, it doesn't help. And if you thought the Rudolph special had a lot of familiar voices, you haven't seen anything yet. It's something of a running gag on the Transformers wiki that Saban reused many of the voice actors from Digimon for this show. And it's true. What the wiki doesn't tell us is that it also seems to be a big reunion for actors who were on Power Rangers throughout the years as well.
Hey, you there! Stopping in an intersection is a major infraction of the parking laws!
I'll see that you pay for this. It's the last thing I ever do.
Our power is greater than theirs, because it comes from a place of goodness.
You have done the impossible. You've defeated the mighty Diabolical. But be assured that Queen Banshira will avenge my defeat 1,000-fold.
On my way. Gentlemen, there's an emergency and I have to leave at once.
Before I go, I want to give you this for being my loyal friend throughout the millenniums.
And as for Megatron, well, he may not be a Power Rangers alumni, but you may recognize him from another source.
The important thing is to find that dragon and convince it to join us!
You cannot prevail against me. I will outlast you, mortal.
And Darkscream in particular? Well, take your pick. Not for something he did before this, but something he would later do. All Transformers.
Oh, God. I'm getting actor illusion overload here. I don't know if I can take it much longer.
Come on, man. Don't lose it now.
You've dealt with so much worse than this.
You're right. Let's fucking do this!
So after a frankly embarrassing outing where all the Predacons, Megatron included, gets fooled by the Autobots using a fucking statue as an ultimate warrior, they uncover something called an O-part, which even they admit they have no idea if it's even important. Obviously not, since it won't be mentioned until much later. The real fun comes in episode 14, The Commandos. The Autobots uncover a crashed starship containing 6 Autobot protoforms. And before you get any ideas that the field will get even more lopsided in the Autobots' favor, don't worry. Megatron snatches all 6, and the first 5 are promptly reconfigured using energy from his own spark, turning them into Decepticons. If they look familiar, there's a good reason. Mega Octane, Rotor, Armorhide, Rollbar, and Movor are recolors of the original G1 Combaticons. They even have the same combiner form, here known as Ruination. And as far as their voices, well...
I am at your command, Megatron!
Hey! My monster seems to be losing! He was supposed to be so precise! What's wrong?
I tried to warn him, but would they listen? Well, if he'd used one of my monsters, none of this would have ever happened.
Christ, how many of you are there? Anyway, Megatron tries to get a vehicle mode for the final protoform and ends up scanning Optimus as well as the intended truck. This leads to the resulting Cybertronian, Scourge, receiving a similar-looking robot mode. Though, frankly, this has more to do with him being a recolor of Generation 2 Prime.
You are infused with my spark, but also that of Optimus. Are you Decepticon, or are you Autobot? Answer me!
on with it. Yes, get on with it!
I have only one purpose, to serve Megatron. I have only one desire, to destroy Megatron's enemies. I have only one mission, to lead the Decepticons to victory.
Hold on, Scourge. Who put you in charge? I was the first, so I should lead the Decepticons.
Only the most fearless deserves that honor. Is that you, Mega Octane? No, I didn't think so. Well done, Scourge! From this moment on, you are commander of the Decepticons! The rest of you will follow his orders!
You're probably thinking this leads to some kind of rivalry between Scourge and Mega Octane, but that goes nowhere. The actual dick-waving contest is between him and Skybite for the rest of the series. And it starts to make me feel sorry for Skybite. The guy just wants to prove his worth to Megatron, and he keeps either failing, or screwing up Scourge's evil plans, or being manipulated by Megatron, or Scourge, or both. I shouldn't be feeling pity. I should be calling him an incompetent boob and failure as a villain. But I can't. To say that the people of Earth don't start feeling different about the guy after the events of the episode Skybite Saves the Day is an understatement. In said episode, he and the Predacons try to hold a newly made tower hostage, but damage caused forces them to save all the people inside. After that, he actually gets fans among the human populace. It's as silly as that sounds. No sillier than the Predacons dressing up as the Autobot brothers, with the Decepticons actually buying it. Twice. However, some progress is made in the episode Ultra Magnus. Let me just say right now, this version of Magnus is not noble and heroic. Let's just say he has more in common with the Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus than the original.
I'm here to correct a mistake. When the Autobots were sent to stop Megatron, the Matrix chose you as its inheritor, chose your being to empower with its energy, chose you to command the Autobots. As Cybertron's most powerful warrior, I should have been given that honor. And now, the time has come to claim what is rightfully mine. Either give me the Matrix, or else I'll take it from you by force.
Now this is actually something that we haven't seen in an Autobot before, Robots in Disguise. Much less someone like Magnus. That said, there is a bit of a problem. Namely the same one that keeps popping up in this show.
Congratulations, Rangers! We are victorious!
Last time I'm doing that, I swear. So Magnus attacks Optimus, who refuses to fight back, leaving him wounded right as Megatron and the Decepticons ambush him. Skybite's idea, but they act first, of course. Magnus does a forced fusion on Optimus, allowing the two to combine into Omega Prime, with the intent on taking control over Optimus. But as the nature of combiners, it's a joint mind and not a dominant one, much to Magnus's chagrin. And of course, they're able to face Megatron, Scourge, and Ruination all at once in this form. Well, it took a while, but we finally have plot in the episode Fortress Maximus. Megatron gets the location of some underground ruins and sends the Decepticons after it, with Skybite and the Autobots not far behind. And for the first time since the Decepticons' introduction, Scourge starts to recollect some of his old memories from when he was an Autobot. Anyway, the ensuing fight between all three groups leads to the ruins rising, revealing it to be the long-lost Fortress Maximus.